Peace. Good morning, family. How you doing? It is Monday, another Monday. What's this? The second Monday of the month? I think. Let me make sure, because I think it is. I think I'm right. If I'm wrong, I will be wrong. But if I'm wrong, I will correct my wrong. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm saying what I'm saying to be correct. Yes, it is the second Monday of the month. So for those who have made it to the second Monday, I don't know why I said first, and I just told myself it was the second Monday. So for those who have made it to the second Monday of the month, I want to say you made it. That's all I want to say. You made it. And because you made it, you do have the ability to be successful. Yes, you too do have the ability to be successful. So, good morning, Miss Berry. Miss Berry came early this morning. Good morning, Miss Williams. Good morning, Miss Trisha. Uh, Today is another day for you to be successful. Today is another day for you to be blessed. Today is another day for you to be bountiful. Today is another day for you to plant your seeds. Today is another day for you to reap the harvest. But when are you going to reap the harvest? When you recognize the harvest is yours for the taking. Also, the harvest is still yours for the asking, because we have not because we ask not. I just said that. Hope it sounds good to you, but if it don't, hey, it's all you. It is all you, because I want the harvest. I'll ask for the harvest. If you don't want the harvest, give me your portion. I will show you what to do with your portion. If you don't want to take your portion on, I'll take on your portion, and I will build it for somebody else who is ready to take on their portion. I want my portion. You want your portion? I think when we want something, that means that we have a strong desire to achieve it. And because we have a strong desire to achieve it, we ultimately have a strong enough desire to make it happen, because you're going to be thinking about it more and more each day. That's a little intro. That's not really what we jumping into, but today we're going to be jumping into it anyway. So, for everybody that's watching right now on the Facebook space and on YouTube, I thank you for being here. You are here another week with us here at Consistency is Currency. You're on this side of the dirt, so you're able to see me and I'm able to see you. Those that are listening in the podcast space, whether you're listening on Spotify, Anchor, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or Facebook Podcasts. Yes, we're on all of those platforms. If you can hear me, I am thankful and grateful for just being a choice of yours. Like I always say here in the morning, you're a morning podcast of choice, and you've made the decision to be here and to listen. So, good morning to everyone. Make sure you share this live on your news feed or share it in the active group somewhere where you know that someone needs a gift. In order for them to receive, they have to want it. So, we're going to be talking about something called START. A lot of us have heard the word, but most of us have yet to action it, right? Who has ever ran track? Whether you ran the 4x1s, the 100, the 200, all of those particular races that you have to start in the block, those types of races. Or I'm sure someone's seen it. I mean, you can say, well, track wasn't my thing. You've seen people in the blocks, right? I'm sure you have. If not, I'm going to show you again. You see this brother right here. He's in the blocks, and it's all in the start. So what does that mean? It's all in the start. It is how you prepare yourself. It is you getting ready to do something that you either have never done before, or something that you have been afraid to do, or something that you were just in the process of thinking about doing. It is all in the start. So I don't want to belabor, because I have to go to another radio thing today, like 9 o'clock. Like as soon as I'm done with this, you'll probably see me again, but I'll be on another platform. But we're going to talk about it's in the start. And in the start, honestly, that's where the blessing is, right? In the start is where the blessing is, because the blessing does not begin until it starts. Just like raining. Raining does not happen until it starts. You don't feel the water until it starts. So that means that there is a process in order for it to get there. Just like there is a process in order for you to be where you are right now watching. So it's in the start. And let's go ahead and just get into it. In the start. It is in the start. So, like we always do, we talk about we see the word and then we go into the definition and we just redesign what we're going to be speaking about because there are lessons in it. So, you will always learn something here. Words that you've seen before, but that you didn't know that there was another definition. Whatever it is, you're going to learn something here on this platform. Now, let's talk about the definition of start. The definition of start is stated as a begin or reckon from a particular point in time or space, happen or come into being. I'm going to say it again. The begin or reckoning or reckon from a particular point in place, time, happen or come into being. And the highlight and inversion on this is red over white because begin or come into being. That's what I want you to look. That's where I want you to start. That's where I want you to look. Because when you're going through your starting phase or your starting process, it takes you to look at you, to talk to you, to get you to start. Not someone else. Not you waiting on somebody to motivate you or you're waiting on somebody to do something for you, because the start must start with you. Far too often we wait for loved ones to give us some push, or we wait for the right sign or all this other stuff to happen before we actually take that leap of faith. Before we put ourselves in a position to be ready for the harvest, we have to understand that we have to begin or come into being. Now, I've never looked at nor studied the etymology of start, but when I went through it this morning, it really began to make sense. And if there's something that resonates with you, go ahead and put it into the chat, because when people watch it on the replay, they're able to communicate with you as well, or see something that you saw from your own perspective. So go ahead and put whatever you see that resonates with you inside the chat, because when I learned the etymology of start, it really hit home for me. Wow, that's supposed to say start. But anyway, the words are still the same underneath it. So when I look at start, that's obstreperous. We talked about that last week. So when I looked at the etymology of start, it is in the Old English, it said stortan or stretan, or in Finnish variants of startan, Styrtan. But then stretan means to leap up. That means you have to go from where you are to where you're going. And then the old Frisian strata, which means to fall or tumble, right? A lot of us has been waiting for things, and the etymology or the origin of the word means to fall or tumble. So remember that. Remember to fall or to tumble. So the R2 definition of it's in the start is the activation of motion. That's what it takes. There is an activation that has to take place in order for you to move or to become what it is that you're striving to become, or you're striving to get to. It is in the activation of motion. That means there is something that is within inside of me that I have to activate in order for it to come to pass. It is not something that you're sitting around waiting for. It is something that you are activating. Again, remember, to fall or tumble. That's the etymology going back to the origin of the word start, to fall or to tumble. So now we're going to take a deep dive into it's in the start, because everyone has been given from birth a special gift or talent, right? That's everyone. Everyone. Yes, you, the person that says, well, I don't think I have any talents. That is far from the truth. You just haven't really come to the realization that that is your talent. It is your talent, but you have to understand it because, again, everyone has been given from birth a special gift or talent. But so that leaves you with the responsibility of bringing those gifts and talents out of you when you're doing that thing that you enjoy. So the things that come so easy for you, that is a gift, or things that come so natural to you, that is your talent. But before you bring those things out, you have to do what? Start. You have to. You can't say you want to be successful without starting. And success will not come without the starting process. So there is a process to it. It's like being assertive. If you're not starting or being so assertive about starting, it will never come to pass, because being assertive is the process or the activity or the activation of your start. Meaning, I am going to do it regardless. I am going to make it happen. And you're going to be assertive in doing it. So let's go into the very first thing that you have to know and understand, that you have to make a decision to start. You have to, because if not making a decision to start, you're going to be wondering why these things are not happening for you, but you haven't looked at, you have yet to start. Now, remember, I'm going to go back. Remember the etymology of the word start. It says to leap up. When are you going to get off your tail to get yourself in position to start? And going back also in the old Frishten, I don't even know what time that was. I'm gonna have to look it up just for me, my own purposes. It said starta is to fall or tumble. To fall or tumble. So that means you have to make a decision to leap up. You have to take that leap of faith, because if faith is saying that it is a substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, that means there is something that is within inside of you that nobody else sees that's going to have to kick in. There is something that's buried so deep inside of you that you have to tell you that you have the ability to start. And in your decision making, it has to have a beginning, and that origin comes from within inside of you. Not someone else, not someone else's idea of when you should start. It's not even someone else's recommendation. Someone can give you a recommendation, but even after the recommendation, the decision is yours to make. I want to start my diet, or I want to start a business, or I want to start investing, or I want to start running in the morning, or I want to start doing this when I get off. When are you going to make the decision to make it happen? Or are you going to continue to run your mouth and not run your feet to get yourself in a direction that is progressive? Not lateral, but progressive, something that is moving the needle, something that is taking you from point A to point B. It all has a start, but it all is grounded on the foundation of your decision. You make the decision, not someone else. It's yours. The decision is yours to make. And then once you get finished doing that, you have to be okay and not be afraid to start ugly. It's okay to start ugly. Why, Mr. Russell? Why? R2, why is it okay to start ugly? I'm going to show you why. Remember this right here? The etymology of the word start, it says to fall or tumble. To fall or tumble. That means even if you tumbled or even if you fell, it may have looked ugly during the beginning of your process, but yet you started. You can tumble and start ugly. It's going to get better. Even if you fall, it started ugly for you, but yet you started. How many people have yet to start because they want to start when things look pretty? They want to start when it's perfect. They want to start when mama said. They want to start, I'm gonna wait till I turn 25. Or they want to start when it's 75 degrees Celsius and the wind is blowing and it feels great outside, and I'll start running at this time. Really? You might have to start when it's ugly outside, because you are so assertive in what you want for you that is not going to be hindered by any outside anything on the outside that may hold you back or tear you down. Start ugly because it's still starting. Far too often we wait for somebody else, or we waited for something. And when you understand that starting ugly is still starting, you're miles ahead of everybody else who's still waiting for that beautiful start, who's still waiting for that pretty start. I don't care if it's ugly. You started. You got up. You leaped up. Remember the etymology of the word start. You leaped up. You failed. You tumbled. In the starting process, you've tumbled. It's okay. You did something that everybody else is still considering. You have came to the conclusion that start is now. You have come to being, because remember the definition says to come into being. That means you have made a solid decision to start, and you was not afraid to start ugly. And because when you are not afraid to start ugly, you have to understand there is an internal, external process that you're going to go through. What are you talking about, R2? The internal, external process. There is something that has to be great inside of you that is going to begin to take a external viewpoint, but it has to start inside. Starting doesn't start outside. Starting starts inside. The decision does not start outside. The decision started inside. That is something that you pulled out. That is a process that you have begun to formulate inside of your head. It's not just having the concept of doing it. It is having the consideration that starting ugly is still starting. But because I've started internally, I will have the ability to see an external goal. The harvest becomes external when you begin to take that internal approach. You can talk about the low-hanging fruit. Hey, only those who are willing to partake will reach up and grab that blessing that's theirs. I don't care if it's a low-hanging fruit or a medium-hanging fruit or the fruit that's at the top of the tree. If you have a ladder, start to pick that ladder up and put that ladder on that tree and get the higher fruit. You can't be worried about what other people are saying low-hanging fruit is. If that is all you can reach your hand up there and grab that low-hanging fruit, because you still have the ability to make pie out of the low-hanging apple, just same as you can make pie out of the apple that's at the top of the tree. But you want to have the pretty apple. You look pretty stupid by not doing it. Because if it is yours to take, then start the process, make the decision in what you're going to do, develop that internal, external process, because the external are the things that you reap. Because if you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears, that means internally the seed has to be planted inside of the soil in order for it to develop an external tree, something that you can see. Someone had to conceptualize, if I plant this seed inside of this dirt, water it, flower it, do everything that I need to do, the external is going to grow a tree that is bearing the same fruit of the seed that was planted. So that's your process, internal, external process. To start internally. Start to tell yourself that you can do it. Start to tell yourself that you got it. Start to tell yourself that I'm not worried about what other people are saying, because I have to have this internal decision that I need to make. If I'm ever going to reach a certain financial goal, it has to start inside of my head, because the internal financial goal is going to look great, because the external is going to show the fruits of my labor. Because I've internally made a difference in a decision inside of my head. Therefore, that I have no other option to reap the goal, to reap the benefits, because I have already seen it in my head. I've seen it in my dreams. I have wanted it for so much that I began to manifest those things because it started internally. And then after you get finished with that, you got to go ahead and jump into the 3 C's of start. The first one is commitment. Being committed to the process, being committed to the momentum that you've created, being committed to the vision that has been given to you, being committed to the gifts that you have, being committed to the skill set that you've developed based off of the talents that you have begun to push out of yourself. Remember, internal, external. Gifts are born and birthed internally. Talent is something that we see externally. Skills is something that we see externally. No one knows your skill set that's on the inside of you until you begin to externally show those skills that you have developed. That's the first C of start. The second C is courage. Having the courage to start even if it's ugly. Having the courage to begin the process, having the courage to make the decision, having the courage to believe in the decision that you've made, having the courage to, even if it's ugly and you failed the first time, having the courage to get back up and do it again, having the courage to start in the pain, having the courage to start over, having the courage to be courageous, even when it feels like everything is coming against you or pushing you down or pushing you away or pressuring you. Having the courage to look deep inside of yourself. And then after you do that, be consistent. Be consistent. Keep pushing. Keep striving. Keep going. Keep growing. Keep planting seeds. Because the harvest, it doesn't come once in your lifetime. The harvest continues to come when you plant the seed. That's just like a regular gardener, right? Or a farmer. If I'm planting watermelon seeds over here and I'm planting corn over here and I'm planting squash over here and collards on over here, that means all of them have the ability to reap the harvest based off of my internal thoughts, that these are the things that I want out of myself, for my life, for my family. Harvest can continue to come as long as you start the process of planting those seeds. It's only yours when you start to reach up for it. It's only yours when you start to grab it. It's only yours when you made the decision to do so, and being committed to the decision that you've made, being committed to the process. So the 3 C's of start, say it with me. Commitment. Say, I am committed. I don't care if you're just looking. At this point, I don't even care if you don't even type it. Because those who are committed to start, they'll do it even if nobody else is around. They have enough integrity within inside of themselves to start even when no one else is looking. You can tell someone who hasn't done anything because nothing has started. It's like going in your child's room. You open the door, everything is messed up. But you ask that crazy question, right? Did you clean your room yet? You already know the room hasn't been cleaned. But you ask the question, you clean your room yet? So I want you to be committed to starting. And when you start, you say, I am committed. Because starting is just the first process. The decision is just the first process. But I am committed I am committed to see it through. And after that, you have to say that I have the courage. I am courageous to continue this process that I've started. Regardless of how strong the wind is, regardless of my divorce, or regardless of the car accident, or regardless of someone who hurt me, I have the courage to continue to start this process, even when it looks like everything else around me is falling down. Because remember, the etymology of start says fall or tumble. I have the courage to continue to tumble until I lick my wounds and wipe my dirt off and stand up straight, because I've learned what tumble felt like. How many of us learned what tumble felt like? I know what tumble felt like. I know what tumble looks like. So therefore, I am courageous enough to start ugly, that within my tumble, I will learn how to stand upright, because I'm courageous enough to tumble, because I was courageous enough to start. And then after you have tumbled enough and been consistent enough, that's knowing that I've learned from my lessons, and I've learned from the things that I have been in, the things that have put me in position, that I've learned to even take on the opportunity of being consistent, because I consistently learn lessons. So therefore, that I'm not afraid of starting ugly. I'm not afraid of starting when no one else is around. My integrity internally will show externally by the activities of my faith, because it is not seen, because it is unseen. That's the internal side. But the activation of my motives has to start from within inside of myself. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. But I see y'all tomorrow. I see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, 7:30, right here. Consistency is currency. That took a lot out of me. But hey, obviously, I guess it needed to be said. It came out how it was supposed to come out. That's just how I see it. When are you going to start? Today. 1 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 9 o'clock. I don't know. But as long as you start, you can actually get to your journey. But it has to have a starting process. Get out the blocks. Get away from behind that fear. Start when you're afraid. Start in the storm. Start even while you're crying. There has to be a starting point for you to become ultimately who you're supposed to be, or who you're going to be. Y'all be blessed. And remember, tomorrow, 7:30 a.m., Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Y'all be blessed. Peace.